Howdy y'all, Stock Warden here, back with another video. Today's video we're looking over JOBY Aviation and how this stock is getting ready to set for a new turnover. So because as we can see over the past 2 months, this stock has been in a pretty hard free fall on the full bearish trend, going all the way from $12 a share, getting now down into the low sevens, getting close into getting into the $6 a share range, meaning that just in the past 2 months the stock has dipped almost a full 50%. So, and the share price on that is dubbed a lot because these air taxi developers are moving in a different direction because they keep getting slammed with new hurdles for the civilian side of the air taxi. So the thing is with them now turning to the defense market, it's going to possibly turn a new leaf into these eVTOL air taxis and have a whole new array of differences that can come. So now that they have all these delays that's certifying the civilian versions and their stock price has gone down exponentially, I mean, with the conflicts in Ukraine and in the Middle East, having the military boosting interest in unmanned aerial vehicles, it's definitely positioning JOBY into a good market to be able to go straight into defense. So, I mean, so far, JOBY has done a lot of promising, as long as a lot of other eVTOL companies as well have been promising to develop their electric air taxis that are increasingly focused on the market with fewer regulatory hurdles and more money. So, and practically the only way to get around that is the military. So, at last week's Farnborough Air Show, several of the biggest companies that were eyeing to get the eVTOL aircraft to market talked up a lot of new efforts to develop military versions of their aircraft, which is a almost full pivot from the Jetsons style future, with air taxis zipping commuters around that they had pitched to their original investors. So, which turning that vision into a commercial reality is taking a lot longer and costing a lot more than most of the companies and investors had expected. So, in the meantime, they're using these wars as a way to be able to boost this set of economy and this market specifically, to where they can get and give military demand for uncrewed aircraft that don't need a runway and are a lot cheaper to deploy than traditional models, and also different various ways that these eVTOL systems can perform different types of missions, including supplies, surveillance, and medical evacuations. So bringing these eVTOL systems into the military is going to be able to make a cheaper and possibly a more consistent / reliable version of military weaponry, cargo, and supply. So that'll not only help the military out a lot, it'll help a lot on the war effort, but it'll also hopefully, I would say, make it cheaper for the taxpayer, but in all factuality, it's just going to add yet another thing that the government's building and slinging contracts for that'll, well, use up more tax dollars. So you get to look forward to that as well. But with that, I mean, investors for the stock like JOBY are excited about this defense side because the industry is going to be expanding extremely rapidly. So, and not only that, the products can be fielded without the lengthy civilian regulatory processes like what they're having to deal with for the FAA to be able to carry everyday people all day, every day, and multiple times throughout the entire day, if not day and night at all times, to be able to continue that with different routine maintenances, to be able to continue bringing this quality of life that they're wanting to bring into the near future. So, but however, just before the air show, a UK based company had again pushed back its goal for certification and entry into service for its Valo aircraft by another year back to 2029. So, and as recently as 3 years ago, its target was 2025. So, like its competitors, Vertical Aerospace's share price has dropped more than 50% in the past year. So, as it stands across the entire board between Beta, Archer, Joby, all of these stocks are very volatile at this point. So because they can go in either direction fairly quickly, as we can see just over the past 60 days, this stock has went a full 50% into a downturn. So, but there is still upside looking to come with all of this defense, but it's going to depend on if the government chooses all of them or if they go with one of these companies. So, as of right now, there are quite a few to choose from. So, and along with Joby being one of the front runners, it definitely shows that Joby could definitely be on the docket to be the one, or if not the one of the top contenders for defense contracts being able to move forward with their eVTOL systems. So, and not only is all of that happening, but Joby has also signed a exclusive Virgin Atlantic deal to launch UK electric air taxi services. So, and that's where we kind of seen a little bit of a rise over the end of last week because the company had finalized a multi-year agreement. So, and that's going to end up bringing something huge for Joby in itself to also not only be working in America, but also to start trying to bring their eVTOL systems global. So, Virgin Atlantic will serve as Joby's exclusive airline partner in the UK, and it will integrate the service into its website and mobile app for bookings alongside long-haul flights. So, Joby plans to launch around London, Heathrow, and Manchester Airport before expanding to other UK cities. So, the proposed routes include Heathrow to central London in as little as 8 minutes and Manchester Airport to Leeds in about 15 minutes. So Joby will operate the aircraft, manage routes, and seek UK regulatory approvals, which Virgin Atlantic will support airport integration, customer acquisition, and infrastructure development. So with that, the expansion of that is absolutely astronomical potential. So because the agreement is formalizing the partnership that was announced back in 2025 that builds on Joby's existing arrangement with Delta Airlines. So because Delta owns a 49% stake in Virgin Atlantic, so that's what was able to give Joby the big foot in the door to be able to come in and push their way into such a large contract and agreement. So, but at the same time, this is something that, like I've said, it was something that has been going on for years, that they have been able to finally get this exclusively locked in. So because we had talked about this trend and this specific company and contract possibly happening for a long time now, and I'm so happy to see that it finally got to follow through. So because this is going to be something huge, because Joby has one specific buyer, in one specific area to be able to start pushing their product and start actually getting people off the ground. In the UK, might end up having a little bit different of a FAA where the hurdles might not be so large like they are in America. So, but you can kind of take that as you will. That can be a good thing or a bad thing because, well, the more testing that you do, typically, the better off that the people are. But if you bring something out to the public and you have a crash or multiple, then it definitely can tank not only a company, but the stock and also everybody's negative sentiment about eVTOLs all the way around, and it could trash the entire market. So definitely a balancing act, and hopefully they are definitely doing their due diligence with everything on the FAA standpoint of everything's. But that is everything that I have on Joby Aviation right now. So I hope y'all were able to enjoy the video and catch a little bit on what is happening in the now for Joby Aviation. They'll be putting out their financial results for their Q2 on Wednesday, August the 5th. So I'll be making a video on that here in the next couple of days or possibly next week. So definitely stay tuned for that one. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. This is the Stock Warden, riding off. So y'all come back now, you hear?